Hey there, Monarch Nation. We are talking ODU men's tennis, talking tennis with head coach Dominik Mueller. Coach, great to see you again.
Hey, Ted. Thanks for having me.
It has been a long, long time for you guys to finally get on the courts, and you've played a brutal early season schedule, Auburn and Clemson and Virginia and Liberty and Virginia Tech. Tell me about what you've seen from your guys on and off the court as in terms of competition.
Yeah, as you said, it's been very long. I mean, we played our last dual match in March, and then 2/3 of our team stayed at home in their home countries over the fall. So we really did not start to work together as a team until first week in January. So yeah, with all that's going on with that environment, you couldn't be picky about the schedule. In the past, we haven't really played the schedule that front-loaded. We usually waited to play these teams later in the season after getting a couple matches in. But you can't be picky, and we threw the guys out there. And we talked about that. This year more than ever, it's about the progress. And we have that motto written in our locker room: process over outcome. And we really got to stick to that. And we're not using it as an excuse, but you could see that we started almost from scratch in January, and the Power Fives, they were able to have some kind of a fall, like Auburn as an example. They played 3 fall tournaments, and we saw that early in these matches that we were in it. We lost a bunch of tiebreakers. We lost 4 matches where we had match points. That just shows you that we weren't match tough in there, and we see that, especially if you take that last match against Virginia Tech. That was a team that I was looking for. There we looked composed. There we looked ready for the tight moments. It didn't quite go away. We lost to a very good team, 4-3. But there we looked like the team I was hoping we could look early in the season. So if we keep looking like that team that we looked against Virginia Tech, we're going to be in great shape, and we're going to be able to achieve all our goals.
Coach, you mentioned the fall. What specifically for the novice, what do you miss from not competing in the fall? What is it that you gain during fall events that you don't have this year?
Well, I think we're a little unique in that sense that even though we're officially a spring sport, we do compete all year long. So in the fall, we can practice almost all year long, fall and spring, and we have an individual season in the fall, meaning that our guys can play up to 4 tournaments in the fall. And usually in a fall tournament, you play 3 to 4 matches. So on average, our guys get 10 to 12 matches in before we play our first dual match in January. And I think I think that's the most simple example I can give, that our guys are 10, 12 matches short. They had no chance to play matches with their doubles partner. And we have a couple new faces on the roster, getting to know our terminology, the way we operate, our culture and all of that. So we have to make a little makeup to do, but honestly right now, I take, again, back to our Virginia Tech match, I take that as a standard. Now I feel like our season is starting.
You talked about a couple of match points slipping away. Can you coach someone to have that killer instinct to step on the throat, or do you have to have that from deep within long before you get to Old Dominion?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think some kids just have that. And some players who may not have that, you got to keep working, right? You don't just give up and say, okay, that kid doesn't have it. You keep working with it. You're trying to simulate situations in practice to help them. You keep talking to them. And then you got to coach every kid differently about that too. Some kids may need a little more encouragement. Some kids maybe need to be thrown in more pressure situations. So as I said, it's a little bit of both.
This broadcast will hopefully not only go to Old Dominion Monarch fans, but tennis fans all over the place. In terms of not giving up when you get down, are there steps you coach guys through to get out of the way of massive negativity when you need to keep forging forward?
I think this is probably, if you ask coaches, the biggest secret to coaching, right? I think it doesn't matter what sport you coach. If you crack that code, you can be a pretty good coach. Every single year, that's the biggest challenge, right? Because, unless you're in UCLA basketball team from a while ago, you're going to lose this year. Everybody's going to lose this year. Everybody has to bounce back. And you got to make sure that you keep the guys on track. And that's what we've been talking about all season long. That we really take it more than ever this year, one day at a time, one match at a time. You cannot look ahead of what's happening in February and March, because you may not be able to play, your opponent may not be able to play. And we talked about being thankful. just being thankful, being on the court and taking this as an opportunity. We haven't competed since March, almost a year ago. Yeah, so really be thankful for the opportunity to be out there and put it into perspective. And I think if you are able to do those things, then you can handle adversity and you can handle some losses and bounce back. And to wrap that, this is the best thing about college tennis. In our sport, when you play a pro tournament and you lose, you're done for a week. When you play a Grand Slam, you're done for 2 weeks. Yeah, you don't get another chance. In college tennis, and no, I don't think there's any other format in tennis where if you lose, you can come back the next day and play another match. Again, in our sport, you lose, you're done for the week. And that's what's so special about college tennis. And this is sort of the language we're using with our guys is, hey, let's take advantage of the opportunities you have here in college that you may not have when you're on the pro tour.
You speak about language, Coach Dominik Mueller from the ODU men's tennis team. You've got guys from Switzerland and Italy, 2 from Germany, Croatia, Cyprus, Austria, Australia, and France, and Morocco. Correct. What's the common language other than the language of tennis? English.
We're just talking English. I can speak to the German and the Austrian guy and Swiss guy in German, Ottman. My assistant coach can talk French to some other guys, but we strictly keep it to our native language when it's a one-on-one. So when I'm having a one-on-one or I coach one of the German speakers, sure, or when the guys play doubles with each other, then they're allowed to speak their native language. If we're all together, locker room practice, it's all English. But you touched on it. I mean, we have guys from 3 different continents, not just different countries. And I think that's what makes this place so special, right? They all have the same background in the way that they came here to represent Old Dominion. And, they don't just have tennis in common, but they have Old Dominion in common. And that could be the biggest strength of our team when it comes postseason in April.
The uniqueness of this whole COVID-19 situation could be talked about for hours and hours and will be for years and years. With so many international players, student athletes, how have you managed to keep everybody focused on the right things? And how have you sort of shepherded them through these very difficult times?
Well, when it became clear what we're facing in the fall, we had an honest conversation with all the guys over the summer and gave them the opportunity. And as I said, the majority of them decided to stay home. And, back then, in a lot of their home countries, the situation was better. So we absolutely respected that. And, a big part was trusting them that they will stay in shape, trusting them that they will take care of their classwork. And, I was really impressed. Our guys came back with I think it was a 3-5-2 in all online classes over the fall, which, they had no tutoring that they usually have. They were, with the time difference, sometimes their classes were late at night or in the middle of the night where they were at home. So they did a great job mastering the classwork. And again, physically, the guys came back in good shape. Yeah, we did Zoom calls. We talked about practice plans. We talked about potentially playing some matches if they were able to. So, I'm not saying we had to start from zero with everybody coming back in January, right, from a physical standpoint. Physically, they came back in good shape. Just the match toughness wasn't quite there. And that was the one thing that we could not simulate. In every other area, I felt like we were able to connect with them and help them through. And quite frankly, I think it helped them to be at home with their families during these tough times. I think it doesn't matter how old you are or where you are. I think when adversity hits you, you want to be close to your loved ones, and they were able to do that. And I think they're all happy now to get a little bit of normal back to their lives.
And how about some home matches at the Folk Stevens Tennis Center? Yes. The 13th of February, Norfolk State. The 14th, you've got William & Mary. How nice is it to think about match play now as opposed to everything else?
Yeah, and then that's another thing, right? We talked about the strength of our schedule early in the season, and all 5 matches were on the road. Yeah, so we're really happy to this weekend get a weekend off and recover a little bit and practice for around 10 days on our home course, and then finally have a stretch where we're at home. Yeah, but as I say, you can't look too far ahead. Even though we have both matches scheduled right now, our only emphasis is Norfolk State. That's the next match, and we're hoping to get that done. And playing at home on your home courts is always special. And yeah, we're excited to start a little winning streak.
Put everything down in pencil. That's one of the things I've learned, and have the eraser handy. Dominik Mueller, we appreciate your time here today talking some tennis, and best of luck as the Monarch men's tennis team gets this 2021 campaign up and running.
Thanks for having me again, Ted.